He says, for small retail service businesses, would you average ticket size of say, $300 to $5,000? Would you try to create an ICP, an ideal customer profile to use when marketing to your audience? If so, do you know of any good guides or resources for small businesses to use to help create their ICPs? As many are more for the B2B and medium to large businesses, it seems. Thanks for the question, Tony. Shannon, do you know anything about this ICP thing?
I do. And, it's a very important part of what trying to focus your energy and, trying to find out who's coming in, buying. If you have a retail location, who are you advertising to, what works, what doesn't. And the thing I would say, before looking for outside resources is to focus on inside, because the starting point for creating that customer profile of who your ideal customer is the data that you probably already have, right? And that's, stuff about your current customers. And I don't know how much you might have, Tony, but there's ways to get more as well. But obviously, what they're buying, and perhaps you have some demographic data, where they live, how far they're driving to come get you will help you to create like a map for, okay, people typically drive 10 miles, or 20 miles. I don't,
whatever it is.
Distance, whatever it is. But I think the first step is to start figuring out what data you have. And then the second is how can you get more data? And I think an incentive to get you want those customers to give you more information, like, what preferences they have, what hobbies they have. Can you get age? Can you get gender? I mean, as much as you can get what their interests are, as much as you can get, that's going to help you create this profile and get you closer and closer. But I think you have to incentivize it to get that data, because I think most people, it's tough to get people to respond to surveys or different things. So
would you create the survey on your own, Shannon, or would you I know that survey creation is one of those things where if you don't have expertise in that, you wind up leading the witness, right? Like asking questions that are going to give you the answers you wanted to get, as opposed to the answers that you wished you would get, as opposed to the answers you wanted to get.
So, let's back it up and even just simplify it. Like if somebody buys something from you, let's say it would help you to know what their hobbies are, their age, and maybe their gender for some reason or something like that. What they read. Well, you could just ask that when they're making a purchase, but you have to give them a reward for that information, right? You have to give them a cherry. So it could be like, for example, I just recently bought a chainsaw for this new property that I have that needs a bunch of stuff cut down. And while I was there, great guy walked me through this whole thing. And I was just at like an Ace Hardware store. I didn't expect any of this. So I buy this saw. It's only a couple $100. And this guy walks me over to the computer. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I don't want to stay and fill out this computer.
I don't want to have lunch with this guy. I just wanted a chainsaw.
Correct.
Yeah.
But he goes, hey, if you register right now, I can double your warranty. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool.
And that costs
I think that's a great
nothing.
idea. That's where to start, I think, instead of out some other kind of resource, just basic questions. And then you can like segment them based on what common characteristics that they have, right? And one thing I said, we're talking about AI a lot, but one of the GPTs that's I've been using more and more is this data analysis GPT. And if you export that kind of data like into your spreadsheet and this kind of thing, and tell the data analysis GPT what you want, it'll go create these models for you, and it's very impressive. It'll analyze their purchasing behavior. It'll tell you what the common characteristics are of your customers.
Yep.
And you can ask it questions like, what's the most important thing about whatever, what are their needs, or, depending upon what questions you ask your customer. And the GPT data analysis, AI will help you develop that. So where it could have been using an outside company or something could have been more expensive in the past. I mean, this is, $20 a month. And so gathering the data and updating it frequently, because this is a fluid thing, right?